Hello, my name is Timothy Cheek, and today I'll be discussing an update for Terra Wars for Week 3. First off, I added a special button on the HUD so that when it's clicked, if a unit is selected, then they can use their special attack. And it will set a bool inside that unit to be true, and then everything else is the same as it would be for attack. And if we go into the unit, we can see so if we get if it's since it's set up the same as attack, the attack would be set as true, but then we go in and check to see we grab all the data for attack range because that doesn't change, and then we check to see if it's a special attack. If it's a special attack, then we're gonna also do a check to see if what type of unit it is, and if it's the ranged unit, we're gonna find the orientation of the unit, and then that's how we're going to base the so the range special attack does damage to the person it attacked, and then based on the direction of the attack, it would hit a unit behind if there's a unit behind, and then if so, then we're gonna damage that unit too. And we also, I believe we hit up to three. We can hit up to 3 enemies at once. And the melee unit can hit 2 enemies in a row with its special attack based on direction right now. And then we play a different animation for the special attack, which we do up in our animations in the update. So we check to see if it's a special attack whenever the state is attacked. We see if it's a special attack. If it's not, we play the regular attack, and if so, if it is a special attack, then we play the other animation. Next off is enemy pathing. So here's a heuristic that we use for getting the cost of the enemy for the movements from grid squares, and then the pathing function that the enemy would call inside its update would pass its speed attribute, which will be the depth of how deep we're gonna go. So we create 2 lists, and then we make sure the end grid is not null, because if that's null, then there's a problem already. And then we add the start grid, and we are going to set its depth at 0 because the enemy unit is on that grid square, so it's not moving, so it'd be 0. And then while the list is not empty, we're going to pull the first grid square out, and we're going to remove it, and we're just going to add it to our use list. And we'll make sure the current grid square that's been selected is not equal to the end square. If it is, then we're going to want to set it to its previous. And this is only if it's impossible for the current if the enemy cannot be on top of the player, so that is already made sure of. So it'll always have a previous. And then we go cycle through. We're going to make sure the depth is greater than the current grid square selected's depth. And if so, then we're going to grab all of its attached, the grid squares attached to it. We're going to see if it's been used for this. And if it hasn't, we're going to go down here and we're going to set all the variables for its heuristic and everything and add it to the list. And if it's not used, and if it has been used, then we're going to check to see if the new heuristic's better than the old. New cost is better than the old cost. If so, then if the new cost is lower than the old cost, then we're going to remove it and add the new cost into it. And then we see if the here's a check to make if it is the end grid, then we're gonna add it too, because it's just the error catch for this I was having issues with. And then we sort the list with the function that we created in the grid square, and then we grab whatever the final end position in grid square is, and we're gonna send it. And it could be if we have enough depth to reach the player target, the enemy's target, which is the player unit, we will go to the previous one. If not, we just go to the end, and that's where we'll move to. And if we go to the grid squares, we create a compare to function that compares the final cost and returns if it's less than, greater than, or equal to for sorting. And if we move over here to enemy unit, so here's the move function that we created. So we get the level scene so we can do the whole pathing. We get the start grid, which is the enemy's grid. The end grid would be the target's grid. Then we do the pathing function, and then we move the enemy unit to that. And then we reset our grid squares so that all of them have are set back to the default values for the next time. And if we move up here, and we can see that we just called the move function, and then that's how we move to our target. And we have a next to function that we find out if the player is next to the enemy unit for attacking, or if they're gonna move. And then I've also tested this to see if I could find any problems so far, and so far I have not found any severe problems to the pathing. And next I will show a video of the gameplay and explain it. So obviously we got a special button now. We're gonna move our units over. And then see there's two, since they're both next to each other, we're going to do a special attack. And we hit both of them at the same time. And then they're moving one square since their speeds are one square. And now we're just going to show the pathing of the enemy units moving towards. And that is the demo for this week. For next week, I plan on creating setting up the behaviors and everything, so that the enemies will be able to choose if they can use a special attack and they're in range, or to use a normal attack, depending on how much energy points they have, based on if they have enough energy points to use their special move. If not, then they just use a normal attack, and also make sure they're in range to use their special attack or normal attack. And then I'm going to test that and make sure that the enemy units are solid, and they can path with the player units being in different positions. They can still attack in the right ways and all that. And